Let's get down to it with real stories. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Liv. And this is the RL. That I'm like getting choked up right now. Yeah, that was a joke. That one killed me. It crushed my soul. Hell yeah, I have made it to the other side. In drum roll, please. Okay, guys, welcome back to another episode of the RL podcast. I am your host today, Liv, and you've got another solo with just me, myself, and I. So buckle in. I feel like I've got some things that I want to recap on for this year. I always feel like the start of the holiday season, right? It's the end of the year, and especially with the winter vibes kind of coming in full force, it's a time where I feel like I get reflective, and this year was kind of a lot to reflect on for me personally, just because 2025 was, if you're not sick of hearing me say it yet, 2025 was my wedding year. And this time last year, it would have felt so insane to think ahead to who I am now, a wifey, and as somebody who has my wedding as a memory instead of a future anticipation. That was like something I had so long looked forward to, and I'm freaking excited to be here and say, like, hell yeah, I have made it to the other side. In some respects, it feels in a way like an accomplishment, right? Like, I have survived my wedding. I have made it through. I've accomplished what I hoped to do for that. And I now get to move on to the next chapter, next endeavor, instead of having something like, I hate to talk about my wedding as if it was like holding me back in any kind of way, but a little bit. I think when you're in your engaged season of life, it can feel like that is the number one focus of the time, or that it's hard to take on any new projects or any new massive focuses, because at least for me, I was the girl who had always dreamt of my wedding day. And so I wanted to almost like do justice to myself in the amount of like effort and thought and, planning that I wanted to give it. I wanted to feel like I went into that day planned out, well thought through, and like I made it truly what I wanted to. Like, I had thought through all of these considerations, because the hard thing about a wedding is, my God, the choices are endless. You can choose truly whatever you want. That's its beauty. But, as things are always, the biggest perks are always like the biggest minuses at the same time. It's like, my God, how do you even start with the choices there? And so I wanted to take the time to make sure that I was going to be good with the choices that I made, and that I was going to like feel solid in that, because this is the once in a lifetime event of like your life. And to me, it held a lot of weight, just like in my lifetime. Like, I care to have photos. I love photos. I'm somebody who puts them all over my house. Like, I wanted to have those photos and have those memories that like I was going to be good with 50 years from now. I understand like weddings are a hard thing to call timeless, just because of how much trends change. And like, I wanted to conceptualize that I was going to be good with that, but I wanted to make choices that I was going to, sitting here now, who I am now, as opposed to who I was even a few months from now, where who I am now with my wedding as a memory, do I feel good and solid in that? And that's what I wanted to be able to give myself in a way. I am happy to report that I do feel like that. I do feel, like so at peace for the fact that I now have these memories and I get to have that for my life. But I will say, it was such a journey, and one that I'm really reflective on now in particular, because I almost feel as though I've recently turned a new leaf, or like changed a page in my story, just coming out of the mentality that is your post-wedding. And if you haven't been set up with knowing the post-wedding vibes, y'all, this was something that I had never considered or heard of until it was maybe a month or two before my wedding. I was attending a friend's wedding, as is the season of life, and as there were many weddings this year to attend. I'm at the bar at like the night before for this wedding I'm attending, and one of the bridesmaids was a girl who had just, recently had her own wedding and got married. The bride introduces us like, "Oh, you just got married. Liv is getting married." And the girl literally like tells me, she's like, "Oh my God, are you ready for," drum roll please, "the post-wedding blues?" And I'm like, "Wait, hold the fuck up. I actually have not heard of this." Like, what? Like, post-wedding blues, you hear about like the baby blues and stuff. Post-wedding blues, like, this is something I need to have on my radar. What is this that we're talking about? I didn't know this was a thing. If you don't know what the post-wedding blues are, welcome to the club. I mean, I'm here to inform you, as this girl had informed me, that the post-wedding blues are actually, handy dandy laptop here, by social definition, a temporary emotional low that some people feel after their wedding due to the end of a major life event, the drop of adrenaline, loss of structure, planning, and the come down from anticipation. Okay, that's like the actual definition here, but I'm gonna break it down for you all as to what my understanding and my expectation after hearing that. I was like, I don't feel like this is gonna hit me, okay? Like, I've had plenty of lead up, so I can understand why one would think it would hit me hard, because I'd been engaged for over a year and a half by the time I got married. So I was like, okay, I can understand, right? Like, I can give benefit of the doubt. I can understand why it would feel difficult being like, oh my gosh, I've had truly a lifetime of anticipation of like your big wedding day when you're like the girly who is into that stuff, which I am. And to have a year and a half of, in my head, a specific vision of like, okay, this is what my ceremony space looks like. This is what my aisle like walk down is going to be like, and doing these visualizations in my head of like, okay, I picked out all of the decor I want for my cocktail hour, my reception. Like, do I need to add anything, because when you're wedding planning, it's like, at least if you're me, you're constantly going over the details in your mind, because to be honest, you don't want to get to the day of and be like, oh shit, I wish I would have done this. I should have thought of that. Like, so I'm playing in my head for like a year and a half of what, like, walking myself through my wedding day and what it's going to look like. I can understand how like no longer going through that, like, and having that anticipation can be tough, especially when you're anticipating something so big. Like, oh my gosh, for me, for my wedding, we had like 80 guests. Okay. Like, the excitement of, oh my gosh, I get to throw a party for me and my favorite person on this earth, my husband, with all of our 80 of our closest friends and family, and we get to have them all together under one roof. And like, we had spent so much time having fun, picking out what songs we were all going to dance to, right? Because you're anticipating the fun party, this beautiful sentiment, like this sharing of like vows and like this love where you're center of attention, which, I mean, that can be anxiety ridden in itself, but also like focusing on the happiness and the joy of that can be like a lot of anticipation, a lot of fun. So I was like, oh my God, I can see why when you have such anticipation of like, oh my gosh, I get to have the best party ever, and then it only lasts one day, and boom, in a blink of an eye, you're on the other side of it. The day is done. Like, I can see why people be like, oh shit, right? Like, that happened so fast. Like, and to go from this like super adrenaline high of like, everyone came to see us, to see me, and to like love and dote on us, which, like, I'm sorry, like, not trying to be all like, oh yeah, it's all about me, but like, it's sweet. And it's like, it's an anticipation of like a day where you get to pick things out, where you get to say, I've structured and planned and made a day of my dreams, right? That like, boom, it's done. It's in the past. There's no more anticipating of it coming. Like, that can be a come down in itself. So that's like in my mind how I'm expecting the wedding blues to hit, right? Like, I'm like, okay, like, I can see that. And it's true, right? Like, the day of, my God, like you're on a high, right? Like things can't get you, things can get you down, and I'll get to that, but you're truly like moving past it. Like this is awesome. Like you're in love, and like people are highlighting some of like the best portions of you and giving you a lot of support in what you're doing, or at least I hope that you're surrounded by loved ones who are going to do that and give that to you. But like in the days after too, like my gosh, like the dopamine hit, we're on such a freaking high. We're like, holy cow, we pulled it off. Like that was awesome. Like I remember even like the day after, I told my brand new husband, I was like, I just feel so happy that like there's no more what ifs. Like I spent so much time in my head of like, oh, what if they play the wrong song when I'm walking down the aisle? What if the first look gets spoiled and there's some kind of surprise? What if, my gosh, like it rains all morning? What if, like I was so happy just in like the day after and the moments after to be like, oh my God, like it happened. Like those memories are locked in. That's a memory. Like it's priceless. Nobody can ever take it from me. Nobody can ever have what I have when it comes to that. And like nobody can mess with it, right? Like memories are set in stone, or like, I don't know, your brain maybe does weird things to them and you can remember things differently, or they change over time how your memory works. One of the reasons why I'm really honored to get to preserve this all like in a recording with you guys, but that those memories are locked in, right? Like I don't have to wonder anymore. Like one of the big things on my mind was like, what if the special surprise I had for walking down the aisle gets spoiled? Oh my God, it went well. Like that's, I literally never have to worry that worry again. That worry is done. So many things like that on my list of like anxiety, like going over in my head, donezo, locked in. Memories have been made. Like I was just like, oh my God, I never again have to worry about what's the weather gonna do for my outdoor wedding. Like however it went. Like it is done. These aren't decisions I have to make anymore. I have to worry about. Like I am on the other side, right? So the immediate after was like such a sense of relief, which was so lucky because I had a destination wedding that lasted multiple days. So I still had guests to entertain, to party with, to enjoy in like those moments following my wedding. So that dopamine high stayed high, baby. Like we were riding a high that was so fun, so awesome, like so honored for it. How we had like the time of our lives and one of the best parties the day after our wedding, which we had this like insane boat ride. It was a crazy party. And one of the things that was so awesome about it was the fact that it was like pressure lifted off the shoulders. Like I remember talking to one of my best friends the week before my wedding saying how I can't wait for just simply the day after my wedding when like all of the pressure of like the to-dos and like the obligations like are fulfilled. Like they're done. Like I have nothing left to be mindful of other than getting to party with my family and friends. And that's what we did. So it was amazing. We're there to truly enjoy, and we were able to, and that was freaking awesome. So shout out to if you're planning your wedding right now or like any anticipation of that dopamine high is coming. Again, with dopamine highs, I can understand how there is a come down. I was worried about that. I don't really know that I feel like it's the wedding blues that hit me, but I feel like how I said that I've turned a page because I'm out of a kind of funk that I do feel like hit me. And while I wouldn't call it the wedding blues, which maybe hits some people kind of different brides wise, and maybe you are a bride who like that might be your experience, I feel like what I had was something different. And my God, I had, which is not surprising for me, by the way, massive post-wedding anxiety, which I had anxiety leading up to the wedding. And like, you think that the wedding is going to be the cure for that anxiety, because like I said, I'm thrilled that all of these things I'm anxious about or wondering about, my what ifs, they're done, locked in. I'm like, I should be on the other side where things are good now, right? It just freaking changed and switched on itself and took a turn of, instead of like, oh, I wonder if the weather's going to work out for me, to, oh my God, I had like one big event in my life to wear a wedding veil. Like, am I happy with the choice that I made, right? Like I told y'all, I stayed engaged for a hot minute, because I wanted to fully think my choices through. I know this about myself, that I am an anxious person who gets anxious after the fact, right? Like I am the anxiety kind of gal who will nitpick my choices after the fact and not so much before. Like I can rush into things. I can rip off the Band-Aid on massive choices. Like I'm a dive-in kind of person. It's only after the fact that I go back, nitpick myself and go, oh my God, did I do that right? Like, did I do it the way I would have wanted to? So with that in mind, y'all, I nitpicked myself and would go through these spouts of like horrible anxiety where I'm feeling the pressure like in my chest of like, oh my God, like I always planned on wearing the veil on the top of my head. I wore it on the back of my head. Like, did I mess that up for myself? Like, why did I do that choice? Like, I can't go back and change it. Oh my God, like these will be in my photos forever. Like, I can't believe I did that to myself. Like, oh my God, that's not a big deal. And I'm so happy with it. But like, I faced some last minute switcheroos that had me like, oh my fucking God, like, am I happy with how things went? And like, everyone, wants to say like, this is your happiest day of your life. And my God, it totally was. Like, it was amazing. But there's a big trend going on of like that quote unquote de-influencing, where people are sharing like the ways that like, yes, I will stand by that my wedding was absolutely amazing and one of the best days of my life. Did everything go my way? No. Is everything going to go your way on your wedding? I freaking hope so, girlfriends out there. But if it doesn't, the whole point in, knowing about this stuff is like, literally it happens to all of us, and things might not just be like absolutely perfect. Like in hindsight, where I'm at now, yes, I would say things went perfect. Will you get there if things don't go like to a T the way you wanted? Yeah, I think you're going to get to the point where it's been fully processed and you get to be at peace and say, it went perfect. Because one of the things that I love to remind myself is like, things aren't happening to you, right? They're happening for you. Like when you really reframe your mind like that, it's like things like, oh my God, like this happened. They're not happening to you. They're not like, you're not out here swatting flies of shit you have to deal with. Like this world is happening for you. Everything is happening for your benefit, for the worse or better, right? Like you don't know if something is going to be good now, or if in hindsight, you're going to be like, oh my God, thank goodness it went that way for me. And I'm able to put things in perspective like that now. That's why having this like mindset and this perspective I have now, I wanted to do my own little walkthrough of de-influencing and share some things that didn't exactly go my way on my wedding day, y'all, because like there's a few of them. I can be the first to admit there's a few that like aren't my favorite, but I'm so happy in hindsight, and that's like the important thing. And I had a lot of post-wedding anxiety. I'm on the other side of it now, but I just kind of want to say like, where are my girlies out there that get like anxiety and anxiousness like me? Because it hit me hard, and there was like probably a few weeks, if not like a month there, where I was like, actually really struggling on like looking back and replaying my wedding day in my head, where I was just like, it was giving me a lot of anxiety and not a lot of peace about everything, and it made me feel like almost mad at myself, like I was being ungrateful for like the absolute most perfection of a day that like I could have dreamt of. And it made me feel like ungrateful for how lucky I logically truly know that I am. And so I'm really happy to feel and know that like that's a moment, and that's like a common moment, and especially with a personality like the one that I have, that like I can be at peace and okay with knowing like, okay, like that was an unfortunate way to like process through everything, but I'm on the other end of it. And now I get to forever have these locked in like happy things. And through this like social anxiety, post-wedding anxiety about everything, I'm processed, I'm happy, I'm on the other end of it. Thank God someone placed that felt so far to get to just even only a few months ago. So with that in mind, I've got like kind of a list of a few things like that, like I said, just maybe didn't go my way. Okay, so taking it from the top of like the literal start of my day, things that just didn't go my exact perfection. If it was a perfect day of my choosing that I would have chosen kind of a day. I wanted us the night before. I do really like, even in this modern day, and I did end up having a very modern wedding with most of the choices that we made. I do like the traditional aspects of things, and I really wanted us to have separate rooms the night before the wedding. I wanted to have that like longingly moment of like, I've missed you, I haven't seen you, and now I get to see you as a groom and you see me as a bride, like all dolled up. So in the few days before, when we met with like the wedding team, again, I got married at an all-inclusive resort. So it wasn't the case where like I could stay home, he stays in a hotel or whatever the heck. It was the case where part of our package had a complimentary second room the night before the wedding. So we had a 1-night complimentary room. However, the plan for the room was for the groom to get ready with, you know, some of his friends over there, ready separate from me. In order to have the room for like the whole day, it actually made more sense for him just to do an early check-in around like 10, 11 a.m. versus a like later checkout in the day where he would have had to clean up all his stuff, make it back to our room with all of his gear like before photos. That like logistically wasn't working out. So if we wanted him to have the room for the day of, which was the point, it was better for him to check in the day of the wedding and have a second room for the wedding night, which just wouldn't really be used that night of, versus separate rooms the night before. So we spent the night together the night before, woke up, already saw him on the wedding day from the start of the day. And so then, you know, he's gathering up his items back and forth while I'm already starting to get ready, doing my hair in the room. Like he was bouncing in and out. So there was no like separation, no like, oh my God, I miss you. Like by the time of our first look, I'd probably seen him maybe like, I don't know, 2-3 hours before that. So it was just something that like, I mean, it wasn't perfection if you ask me. It's not like, I mean, it's kind of like an oh well, but you know, it was just an oh well situation that I was like, well, didn't win that one, if you will. Of all the things to win, I can live with that and that's fine, but just didn't go my way. Oh, another thing that in all of the planning and the whole, I had a long engagement, wanted to be able to plan these things. There were some things that just didn't click in my head of like how to get them planned. Like the morning of my wedding, I wanted to invite some of my girlfriends who came up for the wedding up to my room for like mimosas, a toast kind of a deal like that, to like hang, chit chat with the girls, have a girly kind of morning. Like I said, my groom was kind of in and out of the room like that whole morning, and I never actually planned anything official just because I kind of was struggling with wrapping my head around like what that looked like with my timeline and where I would even put everybody or how I would get like, you know, snacks or drinks or like how I should invite people. So I never even like put together anything official for my morning of. Like I had kind of wanted to something formal or something to like invite the girlies just because I didn't have a bridal party, and that's kind of the biggest difference here is it happens most naturally with most brides on their wedding day because you've got a bridal party. Everyone needs to get together so they can all get ready together. I wasn't going that route. So, and I was kind of happy and about that because I thought maybe like, okay, cool, I'll have more time with my thoughts to get to be solo. Like I did end up last minute, like rewriting a few vows the morning of. And so I wanted like to have a minute to get to like handwrite them. What I will say though is my girls came through for me, wherein I didn't formally invite any girlfriends, any family to come join me. All of my sisters, like my biological sister, my in-laws, sisters-in-law, the moms came. A bunch of girlfriends just called me and hit me up and we're like, hey, like we're going to stop by. Can we bring you coffee? Hey, we'd love to pop in and say hey. And like, let me just tell you, this is how like you know who your people are. Like the fact that these girls all knew me well enough that like I didn't send out an invite. I didn't really like set up people with this expectation, but like they all still were like, yeah, like that's Liv. Like she might not have a plan, but like if she loves people around, like I do. Like they all popped in. Hell, Rachel, you guys, Rachel came to my room like early morning of, and she was like, I can't believe I get to like hang out with you on your wedding day. Where she showed up like early. It was just me and her. I was like, yeah, sure, come through. I'm just like writing my vows. I'm in my PJs, you know? And like I had some time with girls regardless of the fact that I didn't plan anything formal. And so like, Jesus, I'm just so honored in how my people kind of like know my faults and know how to like pick up the pieces for me and like love me enough to like want to do that. Like, I guess in my head, when you start taking photos with a photographer, I figured I would just have a big bag that I would just like move the bag around with me. So like everyone could go get ready on their own. And like, I didn't ask anyone to be ready to like come be like my entourage. Like I wanted to be low key, wherein like everyone else could do their own thing and like get ready on their own time and just get to be a guest at the wedding. Super shout out to my friend Gray who did my hair. She literally was like running around with my details, went over like, you know, to check in on my fiance and helped him out with a few things that morning too. And she came back like literally, if I needed this girl that whole time, she would not have even gotten ready for my wedding. She would have just stayed by my side. But I was like, no, my sister, again, so fucking smart in knowing the things that I need before I need them. She got ready super early that day and showed up and followed me around with my photographer, held all of my stuff, had water bottles on deck for me. She had her husband get ready too. So her husband's like going back and forth, bringing her cocktails while she's following me and my fiance around taking photos. Like I was like, I didn't know I was going to need this. She's like, I know. And like, she was able to relieve my friend so she could go get ready. And like that, it's just so hilarious and such an honor in the way that people will show up for you. But like, I didn't plan it. They saved me because if I wouldn't have like had somebody carrying around my stuff, you're already so overstimulated and there's so much to do on your wedding day, which I knew would happen. But like, that was a big, just mental relief, like to get to have like, oh my God, my sister's just right there in the corner. Like, hey, can you grab my lipstick out of the bag so I can reapply? Or hey, can you pass me a water bottle without having to like pause photos? You know, you're in this big dress. It's already a little bit difficult to just do normal things and like hunt for things in between that I needed. Like, God, I am really lucky with my people. Also, the getting ready part of like the chaos that is, I wish in my timeline, and I knew this when I was looking at the timeline I created from the wedding day, that I would have scheduled like enough of a moment in between finishing my makeup with the salon and when my like photography was going to start to like truly like take a moment of silence with no opinions to like look in the mirror, decide like, is there anything else I want to polish? You know, do I want to add an earring? Do I want to take off a bracelet? Do I want to add more body glow? Do I like my lashes? Is my hair really the way I want? Like I mentioned the veil situation. My friend did my hair and she said morning of, hey Liv, okay, where are you deciding that you want your veil? And I said, wherever makes sense with the hair, which ended up behind my head. Even though every single time before that, I'm sure this threw her off. God bless her for like rolling with the punches of the day of what I was throwing at her, because every time we like tried my hair before, I'd always put the veil like the very top of my head, like very much in front of my face. If I could have had like just like a moment, just like a pause with myself to be like, okay, maybe I should just try. How do I think that looks? Like putting on my dress, I never even like lifted the titties into the spot. The girls know what I'm talking about. We zipped up that thing and I ran with it, you know? Like I didn't take a minute to like even like really soak in how I looked. The first time I saw the full top to bottom look together was after my first look with my fiance when we rode an elevator, and it was like a full length mirror. And I was like, oh my God, like this is my 1 second to like look at myself. Like I wish I would have like just had a minute with myself to be like, Okay, this is the final look. Any tweaks? Are we good? Take a deep breath. Like, soak yourself in. Like, this is wedding day, yay. Not like wedding day, hectic, go, go, go. You think about it after the fact and you're like, oh shit, maybe I wanted to change my lipstick color, or Jesus, I needed more blush. You know, like, I'm a makeup girly, so those are the examples that come to mind. But that was something that felt really rushed that I wish I could have, like, just taken a moment with a little bit less chaos. I mean, it's not a bad thing that, like, really didn't go my way. If you want to hear a kind of more dramatic bad thing that didn't go my way, that's when we talk about the weather, because I knew I was getting married in rainy season. Like, straight up, was fully aware. If you listen quite a many episodes back at this point, there was a whole switcheroo during my engaged period where we actually had to change our wedding date, and that was not of our choosing, and it was very unfortunate and disappointing at the time because we had to change our wedding date to what's like the middle of rainy season for my all-inclusive resort wedding in Mexico. It didn't like make me happy. It obviously stressed me out, and so I had very much considered the fact that I needed to go in knowing that my wedding was taking place during rainy season and that the weather was going to kind of be up in the air. Obviously, that adds to the stress. And I was really lucky that pretty much everything got to work out to be outside. But wherein I was aware and knew that the resort doesn't really have a backup plan for rain in the case where if they set up all of the tables and chairs and like food and service and bar and, you know, music equipment and lights outside and it starts to downpour, they're taking down the stuff. They're not going to pause everything and go reset up. It would take them a few hours to do so. By then the reception would be over to reset it up inside. That's not the case. You have to make the call morning of are you asking them to set up your reception outside or inside? And it's rainy season in Mexico. There's like basically a 0% chance that the weather forecast is going to say 0% rain. So it became, how much are you willing to risk your literal wedding reception being canceled altogether? Because if it were to rain, they're not going to serve food and drinks outside in the rain, and the music would be turned off. Like, they wouldn't let people dance on the dance floor. That's like unsafe. So how much are you willing to risk day of, like, having your wedding canceled all to freaking together? I mean, that was a big risk and a big scary. And the day of, it says like 20% rain, which we don't love. It's not that massive. However, we chose the conservative route, which was disappointing to me. And I explained this to, you know, even like my mother-in-law day of, right? I was like, we have the option, the risk, like high risk, high reward, right? Like either the option of I can 80% chance stellar reception of my dreams, right? I've got the vision. I've played the wedding through like in my head a million times with the locations in mind. 20% chance it's literally all turned to shit, the biggest disappointment ever because it's canceled. Or we go the safe route and I'm 50% disappointed, but 50% in the safe and okay that the reception's happening. But knowing about myself, I was like, that's just, moving it indoors is signing up to be partially disappointed for like ever. And it was honestly like a struggle because everyone was telling me, Liv, nobody's going to care about the venue. Like nobody cares that it's going to be moved inside. Nobody's going to care that it's in the ballroom. And I'm literally like, with all due respect, with literal all due respect, I don't fucking care that nobody else cares. I don't actually think that any one of my guests have dreamt about this day as hard as I have, or have had the vision of the reception. Most people have zero expectations, right, of what the reception space looks like. Like, I know they haven't been dreaming of it like I have, and it's not their wedding day, it's mine. Like, I was like, with all due respect, I know and I trust and believe that all of these people have spent all this money and this time to come out and celebrate our wedding. I don't think that they're going to all of a sudden hate me that my wedding is in a ballroom instead of outside. Like, I really am not looking at it from the guest perspective at this point. I'm like, I really just, again, I know myself in terms of like the planning, the decision making, the after the fact anxiety. Like, is this something that I can live with, like, on my heart and soul as my locked in memory of my quote unquote best day of my life, like my marriage to my husband? Am I good with this? The one party I get to throw with all my friends and family in my life. Am I good with this? Like, I was like, I'm sorry. Like, it's like not about that the guests are going to be good with it. Like, it's truly like, I'm just trying to weigh on my own heart. Like, am I going to be good with it? And like, to be honest, you can't really like sign up for and understand and like be on board with it. Like a flip of a switch. Like, if you can, good for you. I think I weigh things a little bit like higher in the moment, and I wish for myself, my personality, that I cared less. The reality of the fact is I fucking care. I kind of care deeply about things, like a lot of the time. Wish I cared less. That would be cool. Not inherently me. So it was like the biggest thing that didn't go my way on my wedding day was we chose to move it into the ballroom, and I, to be honest, was really unhappy about it. And it really sucked having to be like, this is supposed to be like my most happy, best day. Everyone's like looking at you, like expecting you to be like happy and having your best day, while simultaneously having like a massive dream that I've had of like the reception space, like outside backdrop of like the ocean, the mountains, the gorgeous sunsets that you get on the Pacific coast of Mexico. Having that be like ripped away and crushed. Like I like, not to be like all the drama of like things that truly don't matter in the end, but like, yeah, I felt like I had my dreams crushed and had to be happy about it all in like the same day. And that in itself was like fucking overstimulating. I like go down to the salon where my mom and my sister are already waiting, because we were all getting our makeup done professionally at the salon at the resort. And like, we had just made this call, and I'm like, unfortunately, obsessively refreshing the weather that day. And like, I told myself I had like that waiting period to just be unhappy about it. And then after that, I needed to snap back and be happy about it. Easier said than done, to be fully on board, just because as the day goes on, the clouds have dispersed. It's gorgeous, stunning, right? Like, the sun is beating down is like one of like the massive things about the weather of my wedding day, like sun beating down, like hot. But like, there's a photo of my brand new husband and I at our cocktail hour, kind of like in the corner, where it like, if you don't know what's happening in that photo, it looks like really sweet. Like, oh, like we're having a moment together. Because like the sunset behind us is like this soft, like pink, like clouds in the sky look like a fucking painting, right? Like one of the most gorgeous sunsets I've seen in my life. And he's like actually consoling me because I'm like unable to hold it back to him, like as much as I'm trying really hard to hold it back to everyone else at the wedding so all the guests remember it as a good time. He's like consoling me that I'm like getting choked up right now about the fact that we had to leave the gorgeous, stunning sunset to go inside in that moment when we were the exact place I dreamt about and like wanted everything to take place. And it wasn't raining and it wasn't looking like it was going to rain. So I felt like we made the wrong call in that moment. And I remember saying to him, I was like, I feel like I stole this from our guests. Like I stole this gorgeous sunset from like our memories by moving things inside. And so I was really disappointed in that moment, which is really a tough piece to say was like part of my perfect day, because having all of that feeling and like regret and disappointment coupled in with all of the excitement and love and support and magic was like a tough pill to swallow. And like, that's just truly the truth of it. And I know all of the guests were really happy to go inside because of how humid it was. But like, when people say that to me, I'm like, yeah, but like the humidity was literally going to break right then and there because the sun was setting, right? The humidity breaks in the evenings and then it gets like really nice. But I've heard quite a few brides say after the fact, like for their weddings that stayed outside, that they were all fucking dripping and miserable, and that like it was a good move to move inside. Also, I kind of like to think about it in like terms of like, again, everything's happening for you, not to you. Like I might never know the reason, right, why that happened for us, that we moved inside. for the record, it did end up raining that night. It just like the rain started at 10 and the reception ended at 10. So who's to say what like that little overlap could have been, or just like the discomfort of like knowing the rain's coming in, like maybe would have taken away from the wedding event. So like knowing that I'll never know like what the could have would have been gives me a lot of peace for like accepting and knowing that like the reception wasn't in the location I planned. It wasn't the way that I wanted it to be. It was fucking gorgeous time of my life. Probably one of the best parties I'll ever attend, because as you can imagine, it was all of my favorite people in one party. So it was lit for me. And, gosh, our people can really party. We had so much fun. And so I feel so honored in hindsight about it. And so if something like that happens to you, just hear me out that like, yeah, I was fucking disappointed, and I was like really struggling to process the day of when you're overstimulated, a lot going on, a lot of people like looking at you and chatting with you. You don't have time for like a moment of peace to yourself to be like, snap back at it. Like, let's get to it. Like I tried when it was like time to do my makeup. I was like, this is my moment of peace here. And, gosh, I'm really good about it now. Let me tell you, I really, really am. And I can say that wholeheartedly, which I always thought I would like, if I had to say that in the future, that I'd be like half lying, because I really wanted it outside in like the gorgeous location that I had picked. I mean, we fucking flew out to Mexico for a reason. Like I really wanted it. No, I'm so fucking happy to report to you guys. Like if things like that go bad on your wedding day, like, yeah, I'm over it. Like I really am. I'm really good with it now. But my God, that was probably the hardest piece of the day. Talking about the weather of the day, the rainy season also comes with insane humidity. Yes, I had considered this in hindsight. Did I properly prepare for it? Apparently fucking not. Like, okay, I used to live in Florida. Like, I thought I know how massive humidity goes. I think maybe I forgot in these past few years that I've lived in the Midwest instead. Like, I feel like I'm good at making my makeup stay. I've got good setting spray. Like, I'm good at a refresh, a little bit of powder. Like, cool. Y'all, I ended up redoing my makeup twice on my wedding day. Like, that is not my dream day. Like, my dream day was like makeup like perfected, sculpted by the gods, like looking like a movie star, like looking like my best and feeling my best. The reality was we started taking photos outside at 1 p.m. It was 90% humidity on my wedding day and 90-degree heat. Sun, like I said, was not behind the clouds because the clouds dispersed, so it was beating the fuck down. I looked like I was melting. Call it a bridal glow, right? That's how we're rebranding it for my photos. But y'all, melting in the sun, like can't even keep my eyes like open because the sun is like so harsh on me. But God, no, am I about to wear freaking sunglasses and then get those like dots on my nose where like the sunglasses have now put pressure on my makeup and melted that all away. So I tried to go to the bathroom and like fix my under eyes, and then I caused all my makeup to separate in my under eyes. So then I wiped it all off, reapplied it, and then I tried to use my sister-in-law's makeup because that was what I had on hand. Well, she is a heck of a lot tanner than me. The colors weren't matching. I was like, fuck it, I gotta stop touching it now. And then we get to right before my ceremony where I'm like so fucking hot. I've been outside since 1 p.m. And I'm like, I'm just going to make it through the ceremony. I'll probably cry anyways. We'll cry off the makeup and then we'll do it after. So yeah, I did that. I let myself tear up and just be in my emotions because you know what? So again, things are happening for you, not to you. I was like, okay, cool. My makeup's not working out in my under eyes anyways. Guess if I cry, don't need to worry about it. So enjoy the moment deeper than instead of if I had like the perfectly sculpted, gorgeous makeup that we don't want to touch, I might have maybe held back a little. Who's to fucking say? All I know is I wanted to stay in my ceremony space. We had like this arch that we paid for with these gorgeous flowers. I wanted to soak that in and take photos with like some of the guests like down in our ceremony space after the fact. And yeah, that was a joke. I literally got to the point of taking photos where I'm like, I just need to make it through the ceremony, right? Like I need to make it through the ceremony and then I can go back to the AC, take a fucking minute, get the crinoline. Like I had like the extra poofiness under my dress, take it off. I was so hot. I had straps. I really love a good strap on a dress. I took those off. You could see a red mark like on my shoulders because like I just needed to be free. And I took a makeup wipe, y'all, and I wiped off all of my face makeup right after I got back up the aisle. After the ceremony is done, the first thing, I found my sister-in-law and I got a makeup wipe, wiping it off on the way up to my room. I go to my room. Thank goodness I like makeup and I can whip out a good like face makeup really quickly because I went up there, took like 10-15 minutes, redid all of my makeup minus the eye makeup. Like we left the lashes, thank goodness. That would have made that harder and longer because I have like FOMO and wanted to get to my cocktail hour. So skipped the photos in the ceremony space, redid my makeup for a second time that day. Like unreal, was not to my expectations. That was funny, but you know what? Then I got to feel really fresh walking into when I did walk into my cocktail hour. So, you know, that was cool in the end, I guess. And it's honestly something that I just think is funny now in hindsight because I always anticipated like the makeup and the hair being a really like big deal to me on a wedding day. Like I want to walk in feeling like my best. It's just really funny how like you say things and then the irony. So speaking of hair, remember how I mentioned 90% humidity on my wedding day? I feel like I can trust my hair in general. Like my hair doesn't frizz up. Like, I mean, it'll frizz up, but like it's just gonna like fall down, lose its shape. Like it generally still looks like okay. Like run a hairbrush through it, like we're good. Yeah, it's probably my second time in my life like wearing clip-in extensions just to get more full hair. You know, your wedding day, you want to look like a little extra polished and special. Did not anticipate how like obviously the texture of those extensions is not going to be the same as my hair or like that it's going to react to humidity different than what I'm used to. Wowza, you guys, I had my hair in a half up, half down. I've never had that like I've never had to work out that many knots. Like the morning after me in the shower, I had like a wide tooth. It took me like 2 hours to get all of the knots on my hair. Like I look back at some of the pictures in my reception, I'm like, whoo, like that turned into like a frizzy knotty ball in the back of my head. And you know what? My friends were telling me it looked like I had mermaid hair. So we love that because I'm a redhead anyways. And mermaid hair out by the ocean in Mexico, it's fitting, it's a vibe. This is how we're rebranding this for memory's sake. Loved my hair. Shout out again to my friend Gray for saving me with all of that. But I will say, it might have been smart for me to have practiced an updo just so that when I wake up and on my wedding day, it's 90% humidity. Maybe I could have or should have had like a backup plan, but I didn't. I didn't have that well thought through. I didn't plan that as much as you think you're going to plan, right? There are things you're going to find that you didn't plan. I had no backup like plan for my hair. I was like, no, I've envisioned half up, half down. Like I got to roll with that now. So we did. So like I said, in the minutes before the ceremony, I'm trying to like fix my under eyes. I'm also been outside since like 1 p.m. and, you know, super hot, humid day. Where we ended up taking photos with the family before the ceremony because I wanted to enjoy my cocktail hour. So we got a lot of photos out of the way. Where that took place was right down by the area where my ceremony was taking place. So wherein I was supposed to be in a room with AC away from everybody, hidden, and then golf carted down to the ceremony area, which would have been very comfortable. I had already walked in my heels with my whole big dress and bouquet down to like right next to my ceremony space. So instead of hiking it back up to get to the AC room with the golf cart, I was like, I'm just going to stay put. Like they got me a chair and a bottle of water and I'm like so overstimulated because we have all of our family around and everyone's literally looking at me. Like I had to tell people, like I had to take a breath and be like, look respectfully, like can people just like not look at me right now and like sip on some water and try to like, I don't know, cool down. Like it was so hot. And then it was so funny because like I didn't even really notice, like we drew a crowd, you know, we got married at a resort so like people could see us. As private as of an area as the ceremony was, people were looking, and I would have done the same thing. And so I like was waving like, up to the crowds, and they're like cheering, which was really cute. But like, I needed to sit for a minute. And my mom was like, well, you had a meltdown right before your ceremony. And I was like, let's not tell people that. I wouldn't call it a meltdown unless we're talking about literally my makeup melting off my face. It was just more like, I did not go for the AC room, the golf cart ride, like, which was in the plans. I was like, we're already here. Let's just stay put. I also really like to be early to things, not late. So if I'm already there, I'm already there, right? Like, it's already started. It's just was little switcheroos in the day that like gotta happen. You gotta roll with the punches, which I get, which I was down for. So fast forward to after the reception, right? So like reception, like I said, fucking awesome time of my life, regardless of where it took place. And honestly, the ballroom was lit. It looked fantastic. It was really comfortable, and it was kind of cool to have it like feeling a bit more close knit rather than open, because it maybe made it feel like a little bit more intimate of a party, just because like, I don't know, we're in an enclosed space, not an open one. I don't know, just a thought. But last one on my like list of when I take a look at my wedding, like things that didn't go my way for y'all, is the end of my reception. My brand new husband and I get on the mics and we're like, okay, everyone, like, let's go get your cozies on and let's go meet at the hotel bar. Like, see you guys there in, let's say, 15 minutes. Woo! That's the end of the night. Mic drop. Last thing we say to all of our guests. Between leaving the reception and getting back to our room, my husband has now completely forgot that any of that even happened, because, liquor and Mexico means tequila shots and best friends and party. Woo. Yeah, it got to him. It was a drunken end of the night where we get back to the room. Taboo talking about my wedding night. For everyone. But like, we get back to the room and I get my wedding dress taken off me, and I go to put on just like a cozier dress to go downstairs to the hotel bar that we just like on loudspeaker announced to everyone, see you there. And my husband's like, what are you doing? Like, the fact that I'm like putting on another dress, right, to get going. He's like upset that I'm not putting on like PJs to come like spend the night with him, right? Like, I'm like, babe, we just like invited everyone to the bar. Like, we just announced to everyone like we're coming. He doesn't remember this at this point. So we also, amongst all of the things to keep track of on your wedding day, like neither of us don't know where our phones are at this point. So I don't have any phones to give anyone a heads up. Like, we're not making it. Like, this boy is not good enough to make it downstairs right now to continue to party. And I have no ability to give anyone a heads up about this. And, your girl with the FOMO and the anxiety, it's like killing me on the inside, thinking that people are waiting on me, thinking I'm coming and I'm not coming. Like, I am not a stand-up kind of person, right? Like, I am like a show up on time, if not early kind of a person. So that one was making me lose my mind. So when we think about the fact that I'm like a anxiety and a social anxiety after the fact kind of person, like, when I think about like my post-wedding anxiety, something that severely got to me and like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that, was announcing to everyone that I was coming to the bar and then not showing up. Like, that one killed me. It crushed my soul that I was like, all these people that I love, they think I'm coming and I'm not even going to be there right now. I didn't make it. And like I said, got over the anxiety. It did leave me, thank goodness. But that one contributed massively to that. What I really, I guess, want to say to y'all and like girls who are maybe in their engagement era or maybe not, or hell, if you are a past bride, like I have now finally made it and get to be part of that group, a wifey as we're called, have made it past that threshold. If you have like post-wedding anxiety or thoughts or feels like me, I would really love to hear from you, just because it feels like something that people maybe don't talk about, or that I wasn't like given like a heads up about, or that's maybe like not popular to say, or like I said, my concerns or like anger with myself was feeling like ungrateful for having like literally the most perfect day. I mean, you guys heard my list of what didn't go right. None of that is soul crushing. Like, literally, I will take that any day for everything that did go right and amazing. It was so beautiful in the end, but I think that it's important to remember that even the most beautiful days have behind the scene chaos. you can love your wedding and still feel disappointed about something that happened. Post-wedding anxiety can be real. Maybe not talked about enough. I mean, we'll see your all's experiences. You can be happy and overwhelmed. You can have a dream day and wish that parts of it were maybe different, and you're not alone in that duality. And so that's what I was working on giving myself peace about, because like I said, I didn't want to sound any bit like ungrateful or not like the absolute luckiest girl in the world, that I really do feel for getting to have some of the most like beautiful memories that I will actually cherish forever. So keep that in mind. I would love to hear from any of you guys. Hell, if you made it to the end of this episode, comment a white heart in the kind of bridal era-y thing, so that I know that you are along for this ride and journey with me. And I so appreciate you guys tuning in for yet again another episode and listening to me blabber this whole time. My goodness, I can't believe how long I've been talking, that you guys are still here listening with me. And I just like appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Thanks, guys.